Hello everybody, welcome along. My name is Benjamin Bloom. This is the Benjamin Bloom Football Channel. Please leave your bias at the door and join us for Dearly Departed Round 27 review. As ever, we are following the fortunes of the teams we covered down in the Championship who've made it up into the Premier League. Leeds, Villa, Norwich, Watford, Brentford. How did they go this round? Well, not too bad. It's been worse on Dearly Departed this season. It was on Friday night, Southampton 2, Norwich 0. Leeds 0, Spurs 4, and lots of fallout for that, which I'm sure you won't need me to explain. Brentford 0, Newcastle 2, but Manchester United 0, Watford 0, and Brighton 0, Villa 2. Reasonable results. We'll get into all of the action in just a second. Let's just say a big thank you first to Simon, our fan sponsor over on patreon.com. 25 years as a Brentford fan. Finally, the bus stop in Hounslow are in the Premier League. Big thanks to Simon. You can support over on Patreon, but for absolutely none of your hard-earned pennies whatsoever, hit the like button, get a comment in on what we're talking about here today, and do hit that subscribe button. Let's get into the action. And down on the south coast, it was Brighton 0, Aston Villa 2. With our dearly departed hats on, we needed a reaction from Aston Villa. It looked like things after an initial burst under Steven Gerrard were fizzling out somewhat. Couple of disappointing results in a row. I think 1 point in the last 3 games. But they've gone to Brighton, who I think that must have been one of Gerrard's first games. They already beaten 2-0. They like playing Brighton, don't they? And Villa get the win in this one. Here is your Villa team there. Martinez in goal. Cash, Konza, Mings, Din. Obviously, we've had Chambers in there recently in the back four, but that looks more like the first choice, we think. No disrespect, of course, to Chambers who'd come in. McGinn, Louise, Ramsey, Watkins, Ings, and Coutinho. So lots of tweakery, lots of different permutations. No Buendia in this lineup. And if you believe in the adage of never changing a winning team, maybe you won't start the next game either. For Brighton, Sanchez in goal, Veltman, Dunk, Cucurella, Lamptey and March wide, McAllister, Bissouma, Moda, Mopai and Trossard. Is there a little bit of a feeling with Brighton, maybe a week or two later than Villa, that they were punching quite well and just dipping off, fizzling as well a little bit? Is that fair? Let me know. Villa, whatever you believe in terms of those narratives, took advantage to get the win in this one. Here's the opening goal. Fine finish by Matty Cash. Right foot, half volley, 17 minutes. I think he bangs that in off the far post. Very, very good from Cash. Nice and narrow, nice and forward. Look how many players Villa have got forward there as well. And it is drilled in off the far post by Cash for the opening goal on 17. And they make it 2-0 on 68. Tyrone Mings with a pretty speculative ball down the line. I think it's Veltman gets caught out. You would imagine the Brighton centre-half, they would have dealt with it. But you've got to give Watkins credit. He's a nuisance. He's running off him. He waits for the sort of error and to get stuck under the ball. Follows it in. Nice finish by Watkins. And I suppose that does the front three of Coutinho, or however you perceive that. It's the attacking end of the pitch of Coutinho, Ings and Watkins. No harm going forward, does it? Looking at the numbers, it's kind of classic Brighton a little bit, isn't it? Where they have a lot of possession, a lot of shots. But then some important numbers that Villa fans will be very, very happy with. 4 shots on target to 1, 2 big chances to 1. Look over at the shot map as well. You'd be quite happy if you're a Stevie Gerrard looking at those disparate collection of small blue blobs compared to maybe the 1.38 XG forced by Aston Villa. As I said, it's a little bit of a bounce back for Villa after a bit of a poor run. Next couple of fixtures look fairly nice on paper as well. Do we get a Villa push back up into the top half of the table? Villa subscribers, get involved in the comments. Let me know what you think on this one. And a good win for the Villa. Brighton 0, Aston Villa 2. Well, it was Brentford 0, Newcastle 2, and I did want to be talking about the glorious return to health and fitness of Christian Eriksen and his Premier League debut. Maybe the return of Ivan Toney to the bench for Brentford, and he's going to play the last 30 minutes of this one. But I'm afraid, Bees fans, I'm going to have to talk to you about an 8th defeat in 9 games. 1 draw in there. And that's all she wrote for Brentford in recent times. Whatever the mitigating factors are, it's not good for Brentford. And the direction of travel is obviously very much downward and needs righting very quickly. This was a key game against Newcastle where they could have kept perhaps a direct rival that does ultimately look like going straight past them, and frankly already has now, at bay. And they didn't. But there is a big mitigating factor, and not that Thomas Frank or the Bees fans will want the buck passed. Red card 11 minutes into this game. So if you are looking for this to be a viable kind of indicator of everything that's going to happen between now and the end of the season, it's probably not because of the red card so early in the game. However, the 8 defeats in 9 games is enough fuel on the fire for that particular conversation. There is your Bees team. Raya, Asia, Janssen, Pinnock, Henry. Was that really a back 4? Bees fans, let me know. Janel, Norgard, Jensen, Visa, Mboimo, and De Silva. If that is a back 4, that's a big deal because it's been a back 3 all season and from the back end of last season for the Bees. Newcastle are going great guns and not many questions being asked about whether they're going to survive or not anymore. Dubravka, Kraft, Shah, Byrne, Target, Willock, Shelby, Joe Linton, Murphy, Wood, and Fraser. And really, this is the key moment. Just 11 minutes in. It goes to the VAR. It's Josh De Silva. We've seen this a couple of times on VAR where a player attempts to step over and shield the ball and ends up coming down on the ankle or I suppose it's the ankle there of Matt Target. Obviously, in bygone days, and I understand we don't live in bygone days, everyone would play on and say, oh, it's an accident, it wasn't even a tackle, he's just trying to plant his foot. But nowadays, we know under the endangering of opponent narrative or wording that the red card comes out for this type of thing. So whilst it may be a little bit unlucky in terms of if he was just meaning to plant his foot, you can't plant your foot on your opponent's ankle, sadly, nowadays. You know the red card's coming out, and that just puts Brentford's backs against the wall, doesn't it? There's Joe Linton with their header for 1-0 on 33, and really good work. I think that's Shah, isn't it? You'd expect that to be Chris Wood bustling and feeding through Joe Willock, and he makes it 2-0. As you can imagine, playing against 10 men in the Premier League for 79 minutes is going to end up with numbers like this. Only 2 big chances to 1, actually, but dominant when you look at the shot map. Look, 26 shots to Newcastle in total, 11 shots to 1 on target. And, 2.38 and 0.52 on the XG in the shot map. Look, great to see Christian Eriksen back and playing. Probably more pertinently for Brentford is Ivan Toney. We don't quite know what Eriksen's going to end up doing, do we? I'd be interested in Bees fans' thoughts. Yes, this game in isolation can be parked and you can look at the red card to De Silva, but that direction of travel is not good. And are we going to get a change of system? Do you endorse that from Thomas Frank? You don't want to be too stubborn, do you? We're about to talk about a manager who may have fallen on his sword for being too stubborn. So get your thoughts in as Brentford continue their descent down, and it looks like Newcastle are away and clear. Brentford 0, Newcastle 2. In the early kickoff, it was Leeds 0, Tottenham 4. Obviously, this game will now be known forever for Leeds fans as the last game of Marcelo Bielsa. We're recording just shy of midday on Sunday. I have done a separate video on Bielsa, so I won't be talking about him right now. You can go and check that out elsewhere on the channel. He has gone now as of about 30 or 40 minutes ago, the official announcement. So check that out elsewhere. We're going to focus on his last game and symptomatic of the problems that have ultimately seen him leave. Leeds going under 4-0 to Antonio Conte's Spurs. There is the team. Meslier in goal. Ayling, Llorente, Straric, Firpo, Koch, Forshaw, Dallas, Rafinha, Harrison and James. I've said it for the last 3 months or something. Would we be sat here talking about Bielsa'S era being over if Calvin Phillips and Patrick Bamford had been on the pitch more often? I don't know. We'll never know. For Spurs, Lloris in goal, Romero, Dyer, Davies, Doherty and Sessegnon very productive in this game, the wing backs. Højbjerg, Winks, Kulusevski, who started well, hasn't he, for Spurs, Son and Kane, who look back to their world-class best individually and as a partnership. And it's just been this way for Leeds. So open, so leaky. When it clicks, they're a nightmare to play against. When it doesn't, and you can sit in and counter, the pundits keep saying they're easy to play against. And the amount of goals they're conceding, 4 against Manchester United, 6 against Liverpool and 4 against Spurs here, would intimate there may be some truth in that assertion. I won't punish the Leeds fans too much by labouring on the goals. Just to say, though, Leeds did have a couple of good chances in the first half particularly, but game state and the XG number's reasonably high for Leeds, but you can't be shedding 14 goals in the last 3 games. It's mental, isn't it? There is the opener. That is Doherty from Sessegnon's cross. Kulusevski, it's a really nice finish, actually. Just drifts inside from the right, but you can see a lot of people chasing him. I'm sure the defensive shape there will get criticised. He catches Meslier on his near post. No, I'm not blaming Meslier for that. It was a good finish. And he doesn't get really a great deal of protection, does he? This is this is not what you want when you're 2-0 down and you're really at the last rites for your manager. Just dinks over. Brilliant from Harry Kane. Just sort of cushions it. And the defender and the centre-half kind of go, how's he scored from that? He's Harry Kane, frankly. And late on, it was getting really, really stretched. Kane plays in Son for a lovely ball by Kane, and Son sticks it in. Honestly, I think even Leeds fans admit it could have gone 4 earlier, 5, 6, maybe, in this one with the breakaways. And this turns out to be Marcelo Bielsa's last game. He's gone out on his sword. Look, 5 big chances, conceded to 2, but Leeds created 1.83 on the XG. I know people seem to think that by saying that you're forgetting about the defence. You're not, obviously. I'm not. The goals have been flying in against Leeds, and that was the case again today. Look, it feels insignificant now, this game in isolation, now Bielsa has gone, but do feel free to get your thoughts in it, although I suspect, in the words of David Brent, you're still thinking about the bad news, the really bad news, aren't you? And Leeds now changing managers. Bad news, biggest story. So feel free to go and head over to the other video to comment on Bielsa and his last game at Leeds, which ended Leeds 0, Spurs 4. Get your comments in, Leeds fans. Up at Old Trafford, it was Manchester United 0, Watford 0. And I guess my question to Watford fans is, and we use the word viable on this channel a lot, was this really a viable performance? Obviously, they'd be super happy going up to the game with a point and a clean sheet. But the evidence doesn't particularly look much like a Watford defensive masterclass and frustrating Manchester United. It looks a little bit more like Manchester United poor finishing, perhaps. And if you play this game 10 times, Watford maybe lose it. Hey, get your thoughts in, Watford fans. I mean, will you take it and move on with the clean sheet, or does this not really forecast much in terms of positive, viable performances for the future? Is your glass full or half empty? So Hodgson goes with Foster in goal and Gakia in at right back. Cathcart, Samir Kamara. Cleverly, Loser, Sissoko. Sarr, Dennis, King. For Manchester United, De Gea, Wan-Bissaka, Lindelof, Varane, Telles, Fred, Matic, Pogba, Fernandes, Elanga, and Ronaldo. I say that with kind of some reverence, but that rather big name front four can't stick the ball in the net, so maybe I shouldn't be doing that. But look, all the clips I've picked out, and I'm by no means whitewashing this, appeared to be Manchester United missed chances. I can't believe Fernandes hasn't finished that off. Okay, we give Foster some credit, but a player of Fernandes' quality should be sticking that one in. Crossing from the left, Fernandes stretching. You expected him to just cushion it in, and Foster not being able to react, but no. And then, this is towards the end, Pogba, nice little slide through. Ilanga, can he just slide that in the bottom corner? Look, Foster's already off balance, or is he already diving? Surely it's a goal. No, it's not. And Watford come away with a 0-0 and with a point, obviously. Look, 10 shots, okay, 2 on target for Watford, but read down that left-hand side, 67% possession Manchester United. I suppose Roy Hodgson could argue, look, 22 total shots, only 3 on target. Maybe some good defending did happen, but look at all those red blobs. 4 big chances to nil, 2.3 on the XG, 0.58 for Watford. Look, I know we'll get those slightly reductive comments sometimes of, oh, the final score is the only stat that matters. Well, it's not, is it? It's not the only stat that matters. It may be the most important one, but it's not the only stat that matters. And I suppose if you are going away and drawing 0-0, you'd want to have limited the opponent's chances, created a couple maybe yourself and not quite taken them, and then you factor in maybe the disparity in finances and resources for teams. So with that being said, yes, good point for Watford, and okay, they've had a win at Villa last weekend, bit of a gnarly one against Palace in the week. 4 points from the last 3 games. That'll do. Keep getting 4 points over 3 games and things will trend up, won't they? But how viable is that performance? You let me know in the comments, Watford fans. It was Manchester United 0, Watford 0. A bit of a depressing one on Friday night for our Norwich subscribers. It was Southampton 2, Norwich 0. And all of those things that the Norwich fans in the comments here on the channel have been praising about fight and, you know, those basic fundamentals of showing up and giving the opponents a game just didn't happen, really, did they? Southampton comfortable winners, and you had the idea if it had gone to a bit earlier in this game, they had to wait until late on to get the second. It could have been a gnarly one. That's all irrelevant, really, because it is a 0-pointer for Norwich again. It's a 3rd defeat in a row. We knew this run was going to be difficult for Norwich, specifically Liverpool and Manchester City, but either side, a point against Palace and 0 against Southampton. They would have been hoping for a 3 in there in one of these games, with the acknowledgement that Southampton are decent, aren't they? And they got up to 9th in the table on Friday night after this game. That was the team that Dean Smith went with. Gunn in goal, Krill still not around. Aarons, Hanley, Gibson, Williams, Norman, McLean and Gilmore, Sargent, Rasica and Pookie. Doesn't feel far off the best solution there for Norwich. I know the tongues still wag and can't keep away from the name of Billy Gilmore. I think I've done and said enough about that this season, and perhaps the last thing that guy needs is any more attention on him. But yeah, apparently there are now plenty of stats that tell us Norwich tend to perform worse with Gilmore in the team than not in the team. But there you go. I'm sure there are another 1,000 factors to consider into that. For Southampton, Forster, Livramento, Bednar, Exelisu, Walker-Peters, Elyounoussi, Romeo, Ward-Prowse, Armstrong, Adams and Broja. Here are the goals. Bit of a scruffy one, this one. He gets a couple of goes at it, Adams. He actually does quite well on the deck there, sort of leaning back, flicks out. Felt a bit sorry for Max Aarons. You can see he's got his eye on the ball. He's ready to block, and it just loops up. You see him jump and almost go, shall I handball it? No. And it just loops over his head into the goal. And really, Norwich didn't create a lot. We'll show you the numbers in between goal 1 and goal number 2. There is a bit of a chasm of time, but in the end, it does go 2-0. And Jamie Carragher was picking up on this in the commentary a lot about the edge of the box on set plays, and his prophecy comes true, actually. Romeo, late in the game, gets cleared out. I don't really think there's any fault of Gunn's here. It's not quite in the corner, but Romeo really hits it really clean, and he hits it really hard as well, and it's almost past Gunn before he can do anything about it. And yeah, look at those numbers. They're just awful for Norwich, aren't they? Look, 27 shots conceded, 9 shots to 1 on target, 13 corners conceded, 3 big chances to 0, 3.14 on the XG. So that 2 could have been a lot worse. So small mercies there for Norwich for sure. They only created 0.49 themselves. It had been a nice little winning streak for Norwich against Everton, Watford and then Wolves in the Cup. But it's all gone back to the way of losing streaks. Now they've got an FA Cup game and we'll talk about the next fixture, a huge one against Brentford in the last segment of this show. So we'll say no more there. We'll invite comments from our Norwich friends here. But yeah, pretty rubbish from Norwich in this one. And I think they can do better and they probably will in other games between now and the end of the season. Get your thoughts in well beaten Norwich, Southampton 2, Norwich 0. Right, let's have a look at the table then. A win, a draw and 3 defeats. Look, it's been worse than that this season, hasn't it? So there you go. Villa up to 12. Next couple of fixtures look all right. Can they battle for the top 10? They're flying the flag. Going to be our dearly departed champions by the look of it this season. Brentford trending downwards. 24 points. 3 above relegation. Look, Burnley have got games in hand. I don't like the look of that. Leeds down in 16th as well again. Burnley with games in hand, and obviously the giant story with Bielsa and Leeds now developing today. Watford, yes, it's a point. Yes, it's 4 points in 3. How viable is this under Hodgson? I'm not so sure. And Norwich are on a losing streak again, bottom of the league. They need to push for, well, maybe some points in one of the next games, which we can look at now. Because there's a big dearly departed derby. Look, Leicester versus Leeds next week is all going to be about the new manager. We can give you that narrative already. I don't see that changing. Aston Villa versus Southampton. Is this both sides will have that one crossed off on the calendar? I wonder. Norwich versus Brentford. Oh dear. That's a real winner takes all, loser leaves town type scenario, that one. Watford versus Arsenal. Can they shut out on improving Arsenal? I don't know. Will Arsenal's finishing be better than Manchester United's? That is our dearly departed show. Thank you, everybody, for joining us this week. Please get your comments in on any of those games. Hit that subscribe button. Hit like. Ring the bell for notifications. We will see you next week for our latest dearly departed show for round 28. Thanks for watching. Over and out.